covers a wide range of social issues and seeks to inspire physical, emotional, social, and spiritual healing, believing that God is a God of second chances, and through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Second Chance radio broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson, as always delighted to be here with you, as I have been now for over 33 years. It is exciting to be here once again on the campus of Oakwood University for the 2024 homecoming weekend. And I got to tell you folks, the vibe is absolutely incredible. It's been that way absolutely all week, in fact, because the week started out with a huge health equity conference over at the Huntsville Marriott that was actually sponsored by a couple of Oakwood alumni, Dr. Columbus Batiste and his wife Danette, along with another group of individuals. We had a wonderful time talking about how we can live better by eating better, sleeping better, exercising more, and thinking more. So it was just a great way to start the week. And of course, there have been all kinds of events and activities since that time. One of the things that I like to do, for those that are listening this afternoon, perhaps on the radio, maybe you're tuning in on the internet at WJOU.org, or maybe you're on the live stream this afternoon, we hope that you're taking an opportunity to benefit from this experience this afternoon, because one of the things that I like to do is have a group of alumni come on the broadcast. I like to take full advantage of them while they're in town, because I can't get to them often because they're busy. They're doing things, they're living their lives, and they're having a wonderful and amazing time in many parts of this nation and sometimes even the world. But when I have a chance to actually sit down with them in the studio of sorts, I like to try to do that. Joining me this afternoon are two of the most precious and important and valuable people in my life. They're not just people I know, they are absolute friends and family. This afternoon, she's been on the broadcast before. She's simply returning live and in person, and she's sitting right next to me this afternoon, which makes me really excited. She's Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin, class of 1979. I know a little something about that class because, can you believe it was almost 50 years ago that we met?
Yes, you and I.
Next year it'll be 50 years.
We've been friends.
That is absolutely
Dear
amazing.
friends.
It's so good to have you here.
Thank you, Kenny. I'm so excited. I'm so glad that, that you wanted us to be a part of this, and you are family.
Yes.
You've been in my life for so long, and it's just been amazing. So I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited, and you just kind of have a way of drawing people to you.
Is that what I do? Okay.
Whenever you're a part of the conversation. So you've drawn somebody else into this conversation today because you have two precious daughters, actually, but you have a very precious daughter sitting next to you right now who I've known all her life as well.
Yes.
She's Micha Logan. Micha, what's going on, girl?
Hi, how are you?
Thank
you for having me.
Well, I'm doing great. It's good to see you.
It's good to be here.
Listen,
it's good to be here.
I know. I could be a little salty this afternoon, and this has a lot to do with our relationship. I won't be. I could be a little salty because you took your talents and your gifts to the West Coast.
Well, not totally.
Oh?
My voice can still be heard here in the Tillington Valley.
Right.
From 10 to 2.
Well, listen.
On a neighboring station. But my voice is still here.
Your voice is still here, which
so
means
I still have my creativeness flowing through the city.
And it's making an impact.
That's just what I'm trying to do. I'm just here to help.
Well, listen, that's just what you do, and it's what you've done for so long now. Listen, it's the end of Women's History Month, but I like to tell people, like I also do with African American History Month, it doesn't end on March the 31st.
Oh, no.
Women are significant throughout the year, and these are two of the most significant women that I know in my life. They are absolute sheroes to me for so many different reasons, but I want to talk about the breast cancer survivor story first, because they both have those stories. And I want to ask you ladies, And again, just like we're talking about African American History Month, Women's History Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, this is a year-round kind of engagement, investment in terms of your lives. Dr. Kim, talk to us just briefly about your journey.
Well, my journey began in 2018, and I went for my, regular checkup and my mammogram, and then I was, received a phone call 2 days later, had to come back in. They wanted to check me again, and they wanted to do a biopsy. And I said, okay, and that's happened to me before. And so we're cystic in our family. So I didn't think anything of it. And then my OBGYN called a day later, and she was crying. I said, no, we don't do that. What is it? She said, it is malignant. You have breast cancer. And what happened was when they did decide to do the surgery, it wasn't one tumor, but 3 tumors. And so they were going to do the radiation pack that I could do it in 1 week, but because I had 3 tumors, they did 4 weeks of radiation. And then I did 5 years of chemo and with the tablet, and it was a journey, loss of appetite, loss of weight, and some mood swings, but overall, God is good. And I just went to my oncologist 2 weeks ago, and I've been cleared. I no longer have to go see my oncologist. I'm off all the medication, 5 years, and God is good, Kenny.
There's a stage back here. We can do a little praise
Come
dance.
on now.
If needed at this point, because we certainly feel the energy behind it. Michael, you also have a breast cancer survivor story. Tell us the Cliff Notes version of that as well.
Well, first, I want to give a big shout out to the class of 2004 because it's my 20th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Shout out.
Can I do 2000? Can I do 1979?
He already talked about you all.
45 years, 1979.
This is what happens.
Okay.
This is what happens. You had your moment, and you had an opportunity.
It just slipped my mind.
No. You chose not to acknowledge your class
Right.
during your opportunity.
Okay.
It's
Kenny,
now
you
my
did good.
time
It'll
to
come
Okay.
acknowledge
It'll come back
the class of
around.
2004.
There you
There you
go.
go.
So shout out to the class of
Shout out to
2004.
Shout out.
Us celebrating 20 years. All right, now, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2013. I got it before my mom got it, and I got it worse. So for me, I was already going to the doctor repeatedly for something totally unrelated. Then it came time for me to have my annual, and that my annual is when I discovered that there was first a reason for me to even go to a breast doctor. I was like, what? Go get a mammogram? At the time, I didn't even know how to spell mammogram. So it was a very weird and uneasy situation. I did, they did the test. I've never had any type of test like this in my life. Did all the tests. They did the testing. I remember calling some friends like, have you ever had a biopsy? They're like, yeah, girl, you'll be fine. And I just kind of went on. And I remember being at work around the corner. I was on air. I got the call from my doctor. And I was on air. And I had a show to finish. And I just remember I heard her talking, but I did not hear what she was saying. So all I was thinking about was having to call my parents and tell them. And we had already had a pretty traumatizing year, and I just didn't want to add anything else to that. But my boss, he knew what was going on with me going to the doctor's appointment, and then he was like, you gotta call. My pastor at the time, he was like, you gotta call your parents. And so I went through 18 weeks of chemotherapy. I had a lumpectomy, and then I had 37 back-to-back radiation treatments. And so I just recently celebrated 10 years of being cancer-free. I'm now in my 11th. So, it's been an amazing journey. What I found out most is that there are a lot of women in our community, not just in in the Adventist community. A lot of women have gone through this, and they haven't felt like they've had a voice to be able to talk about it and discuss it. And I believe that my perspective is always different. Although my mom got it, I remember praying and saying, okay, God, if she gonna have to have it, just don't let her go through what I went through. So if this is where we're at, I need you to do me this one, my boy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I need you to do me this solid. And he was able to do that. And so now we have a platform and a voice to speak on it from various perspectives, different journeys.
Yeah.
I will forever, no matter how old I get, I will forever encourage young women to go get their mammograms and do their self-test.
Wow.
I will forever encourage young women to get their family history, because the case is, you don't hear nothing else I say, young women do get breast cancer.
Wow.
Young women do get breast cancer. It's no longer your aunties, your grandma, the old lady at the church. It's literally the girl that's handing you your food when you're going to get something from the drive-thru. It's the girl at the mall. It could be a young woman on this campus right now. And we get overlooked. That age group gets overlooked. So I said, for the rest of my life, no matter how old I get, I'm going to always advocate for the young women.
Yeah, well, listen, they often say that there's no testimony without a test. And there is something that I have literally added to that over the years, that in addition to that testimony, there also needs to be a call to action. So I'm inspired by what I've heard, and I'm talking to everybody who might be listening, but now I got to do something. And that kind of speaks to what Mike is saying, that we have this awareness, we have these education programs. Be aware, get tested, advocate, support. There are all kind of ways that people can get involved. And Dr. Kim, I know we just got a few minutes left, but you got a tremendous platform. You have many platforms, actually. You're an author, multiple books. You are a producer, an innovator, and so much more. And you leverage the information and education platforms that you have so that more people can get information. Just tell people about the one platform that you utilize about Live to Get Well, or Live to Be Well, because for me, this is all about a health lifestyle thing.
That's right.
And you utilize that process in terms of helping people know.
That's right. It started with myself when we lost my husband, Micah's dad, and your friend, dear friend, and we will always be grateful you coming there to Detroit to be with us. And so in 2016, so when one of my board members said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I'm done. I don't want to speak. I don't want to teach. I don't want to do anything. I'm finished with everything. I was calling 3ABN. I'm calling everybody. Dr. Kim has retired. And God spoke to me and said, no, I didn't retire you. I retired Arthur. And then I told my board of directors, he asked me one more time, and I said, I'm just trying to live to be well. And Live to Be Well was birthed out of me becoming, whole again and finding my way, because there was no support group for me. So I had to start my own support group. And in that, I'm holding myself accountable. I'm aware of what's going on in my life and trying to find more knowledge and being able to have compassion. Micha always says, show yourself some grace, Mom. And then with that, I am committed and I'm consistent with my commitment to my life to help others. And then I have integrity. I want people to be able to trust me, as a mental health professional, trust my words and what I'm trying to give you. So with that, I want to let people know there's a better way to do this, a better way to navigate through your life if you are willing to live to be well.
Wow. And where can people find it?
Oh, you can go to my website, www.drkiminspires.com, or you can give me a call at my office, 313-664-4900.
And Micha, you're everywhere as well. Where can people find you?
On Instagram at ML_SIX. It's the easiest way. I'm on Facebook, ML6, but just hit me on Instagram DM at ML_SIX.
IG is the spot. Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin, Micha Logan, thank you for giving me an opportunity to get this special edition of the Second Chance broadcast on this historic Oakwood University Homecoming Weekend 2024, and have an opportunity to talk to these powerful women who become no less powerful on April the 1st. In fact, they become even more powerful as a consequence of the next day after the 31st. Thank you, ladies, for joining me.
Thank you for
having us. We love you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. We're going to come back in just a moment with more of the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson at Second Chance. Hope you're having a great day.
Oh, that was wonderful.
I've been running around the edges, building my own happy endings, but they couldn't take the test and they just fell right down. I've been trying to push the limits, been asking why I should live in them. Couldn't find no good there in it till you showed me how to be still and don't move. So I will, 'cause I want you to keep me right there in the middle of your love, your love. Keep me right there in the middle of your love. Stars will fall from the sky one day. When I'm lost, I'll call your name too. Keep me right there in the middle of your love. I've been living on the fences, I've been spinning, I've been restless, I've been thinking selfish, but it's different now. Oh, be still and don't move, so I will, 'cause I want you to keep me right there in the middle of your love, your love. Keep me right there in the middle of your love. The stars will fall from the sky one day. When I'm lost, I'll call your name too. Keep me right there in the middle of your love, your love. Ooh, ooh, your love. Ooh, your love. Keep me right there in the middle of your love, your love. Keep me right there in the middle of your stars will fall from the sky one day. When I'm lost, I'll call your name too. Keep me right there in the middle of your love, your love. Ooh, your love. Ooh, your love. Your love. Keep me right there in the middle of your love.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Welcome back to the special live remote edition of the Second Chance radio show, airing every Sunday from the campus of Oakwood University from 2 to 4. But today we got a special show because we got a whole lot of folk in town. I mean, they're everywhere. I don't care where you go. I can't get anywhere right now because they're everywhere. They're on the streets. They're in the restaurants. They've rented cars. They're going to fill the airports this afternoon. We're going to be happy that they're here, but we're also going to be happy when they leave. But before you leave, as my boss, the mayor, would say, spend lots of money. Make sure that our tax base is nice and secure before you leave. And these are two big spenders, by the way, with me right now, even though that's not what we're here to talk about. We'll have that conversation another time.
I think one of us is a big spender.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to say who, though.
Hey, I've known you guys for a while now. I've seen your pockets. Joining me this afternoon, my bros, Eric Kelly, Dane Timpson, back once again. We had them here last year for this very special occasion, and they have chosen to join once again. I must have treated them right last year because they decided to come back on my invitation. What's happening, guys?
It's that big paycheck.
It's all good, man.
We try not to spend it in the same place, brother. But
It's good to see you again, Kenny.
Listen, man, I'm glad I had the Cash App, too, because we don't write checks anymore. And you guys know a little something about the deficiencies of monies and things like that, because you all run a church called the Zoom Family Worship Church, which is a virtual platform, which is an absolutely amazing experience. It's one that I look forward to attending every week. In fact, I'm considering transferring my membership. I'm looking around for any First Church folk right now, in case they maybe.
Don't let that get out.
We're not going to say that you're on the board of elders.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll keep that to ourselves.
We may be talking about too much here. People may get really concerned about those kinds of
things. It's a little scary for some people.
Well, listen, guys, it's always great to see you. I've seen several Zoom Family Worship members. Told them how good it was to see them off the platform and actually in person, face to face. We've had that experience over the last few days, and it's great to see you all as well. But I'm talking about Zoom Family Worship. A lot of folk out there may not know. Shame on them, but we're going to make sure that they know exactly what Zoom Family Worship is. So let's start right there. Tell us what Zoom Family Worship is.
Well, this got started. It was a conversation that we were over the tent master's house because, you know, he is the tent master.
He is the tent master.
Yes.
We may want to talk about that backstory in a moment.
I'll let him give that to you. But we were over the tent master and the lovely one's house. And it was T. Marshall Kelly, affectionately known as Pop, and Jerry Warren. And we were talking about church hurt and people that struggled with the organization versus their spiritual connection with Jesus Christ. And that whole focus was like why we got together. And then COVID came along. We lost Jerry, we lost Pop, but this group still will not disband. We look forward to seeing each other. So we'll run to church and come back so that we became a family.
Yeah.
And as well, you're one of on the board of elders, so you know that family that's where we get our spiritual strength from. You sharpening my iron, me sharpening yours. And then, you know, since we're a blood family, this is another whole different issue.
Look, but you know, also, Kenny, it started out as an intimate group. And the purpose necessarily wasn't to be this big church that we were trying to organize. This was something that we were all on lockdown, worshiping from our individual homes, and it was a group of friends. Well, those friends invited friends, who invited other friends, who invited more friends. And I think on our second anniversary, we had over 200 participants on that anniversary Sabbath. And so we've averaged 130 or so per week on average, and highs of over 200, 180 for some of the speakers that come on. And so it has really grown. Our email list now is about 212 every Friday night. So it has taken off kind of beyond what we thought or imagined or could conceive.
Yeah.
It's a God thing.
Yeah, it really is. I want to say this too because I respect what's being done so much because I know it is being spirit-driven, spirit-guided. That one of the things that so many people are looking for in the context of faith today is authenticity.
Yes.
They're looking for practical conversations and real experiences and being able to connect with people who can identify with them, who won't bring judgment, who won't bring condemnation.
Yes.
And that's exactly what Zoom Family Worship feels like.
Right.
You have an array of speakers who come from their own unique perspective. Everybody gets blessed on a consistent basis. People can just be who they are as a consequence of that.
It is one of the most diverse speaker platforms. So from all over, there are some Seventh-day Adventist speakers. There's a lot who are not. Basically, we just say, if you love Jesus, you're in the right spot. And it has been overwhelming. Very diverse, different messages, but some messages for this time. We're in a time where people have been judged so harshly by the organized religions and faiths that they're in. They're looking for a place just to connect with God.
Yeah.
And it is so different when you just offer that and you don't put it under a wrapper of a name.
Yeah.
We say family worship, come on in, all of y'all, grab, you can leave your camera off, and you know we have a balcony. And there's some people up there eating chicken and food because the camera's off. Pants are optional. You know, you love Jesus? Come on in and hang out with us, baby. You good.
And it's very lighthearted. That's the beauty of this thing, too, because Eric injects humor into his opening remarks.
He does.
Different video clips and things of that nature. You have folks calling me the tent master simply because if you're familiar with evangelistic series, there's always the maintenance guy who's the tent master who lives this little small tent with no security.
In the hood.
Who has to watch everything. In the hood. With no weapons.
With nothing on him.
Themselves.
But Jesus and a Bible.
And they got to watch out for the sound system, the chairs, the water cooler, the PA system. You're going to risk your life. And so the tent master is me because we have no budget and we have nothing to work with but ideas.
Well, you know, it's one of the purest forms of worship for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everybody's stripped at the foot of the cross, and it's like you bring whatever you need to bring, and God will understand.
Absolutely.
And that, I think, again, is the part of that process as well. One of the things that I think is significant is that you all give the speakers an opportunity to share information about their own personal interest.
Absolutely.
Something that people within this space can actually make a contribution to if they choose to support that. And I think that's another unique element of this particular worship experience.
There's been people on that we just say, tent master say, hey, if you want to bless this person, here's their link. And the people that listen have given
upwards of $7,000 to one individual past speaker who basically said that, I need some money to finish my project, and through a back channel, we were able to link up with this individual and this donor, and he was able to finish the project by one donation.
Wow.
Yeah.
We talk about the power of prayer. You have as an extension of this worship experience a prayer call that takes place even before the Zoom worship family comes together.
Yes.
Talk about the bridge between that experience and the actual Zoom family worship.
Well, we call them our big sisters because they were ahead of us. In fact, there's one of my sisters, Dr. Vicky, right there. We call them our big sisters, but they bring so much authenticity to the relationship with Jesus Christ. So when they go in the room and pray, we have watched things happen. We watch things change, things get better. And they don't just pray at that one time. They pray during the week.
Yeah.
Pray for us.
Yeah.
A lot of healing takes place during the week,
Yeah.
not just on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And they pray for us, because Lord knows we need to stay on track. Just the two of us, and we urgently need their.
Sometimes
their
we slip
prayers.
into Saturday Night Live and it's about Jesus, because a lot of emotional work needs to be done here by the Holy Spirit.
But you know what, Kenny? Too, the thing is amazing. We could be anywhere in the country, and somebody will come up to us and say, "We are Zoom family worship participants every week."
Absolutely.
I ran into folks yesterday. I ran into folks Friday night. Now, they may have the cameras off, so I don't recognize who they are in terms of what they look like.
But they know you.
Yeah, and there may be a phone number at the bottom of their screen.
Right.
That,
I got one.
and you have no clue who it is until, in fact,
I
we were at Stanley's, and two people standing behind Eric in line were Zoom family worship participants.
Wow.
They introduced themselves to me, and I said, "Do you know who's standing in front of you?" The host. And I tapped Eric on the shoulder to turn around and introduce the two people standing in line behind me.
I got the story that hurt me. My wife and I were doing family life at a church in Chicago, and a lady walks up to me, as tall as I am, and I'm not short. I've eaten a few burgers. She walks up, and she had this intimidating look. I said, I'm from Chicago too, but if it's going to go down, we're in church. She goes, "Why are you always messing with the tent master?" I'm like, "I didn't even know you." So I called him, and he said, "The Holy Spirit works everywhere, man."
Other sheep have eyes. And you know the rest.
I'm being threatened. Yeah, man. Yeah. Whatever.
Don't mess with the tent master.
Yeah. So.
Well, what that demonstrates to me is I've had that same experience. I'm a member, but
Well, you're more than a member. You're the board of elders now.
Yeah, you're there, man.
You and David Person are full-fledged members.
and we thank you for accepting us, sinners though we may be. But it's amazing because people have also said to me in different spaces in Huntsville, "I've seen you in the Zoom family worship. I've been over to Potluck.
Man.
I've been in a store somewhere."
Yes.
There's something powerful happening in that space.
Yeah.
Well beyond our ability to even comprehend and understand.
Right.
So the fact that, in essence, at the core of this, the organizers that guide this process have just let God.
Yes.
It's Jesus.
Yeah.
Let God be God.
Yeah.
And let the Spirit move as the Spirit moves, and amazing things have happened. You got a 4th anniversary coming up. Before I let you go,
Absolutely.
We're all excited about it. In fact, I know some of us want to rebel and say, let's find some place to meet. But forget about this virtual thing. Let's fly in from different places. But in reality, I know it's going to be a virtual thing. But it's coming up. Tell people where that's going to be, or when that's going to be, and why that's so significant.
4th anniversary is coming up. Our special guest speaker for the 3rd time in 4 years is the fabulous voice of the Revision Church in Atlanta, Georgia, Dr. Charles Wesley Knight is going to be our special guest speaker.
He'll come down your street. Can I come down your lane?
He's going to deliver our word. He has become our go-to person on our anniversary, and we're going to have lots of good music, special features and recognitions on that day. So we're inviting all of our past speakers, by the way, are getting invitations to come and join us on our 4th anniversary.
Yeah, and you're inviting everyone who typically sits in the balcony with their cameras off to come camera ready that day and ready to be able to be seen that day.
Absolutely.
And church anniversary, we wear hats that day. And if you don't know what we look like, you can go to YouTube, type in Zoom Family Worship, and when you see the 3 crosses, subscribe, click on, and you'll be able to see probably about a year's worth of our guests.
And if you want to be on the email list, www.gotentmaster@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And send me your name and information, and we'll get you on the email list.
Well, I want to say this final thing. I could talk to you guys all day, in fact, but I'm glad I'm a confident, secure brother who's been doing this show for over 30 years now, because when you're sitting next to people who have voices like Eric Kelly over here, and they start talking on the microphone, you start thinking, God?
Why did you pass me by?
Wait a minute, God, help me understand. You put me on the radio, but you gave him the voice.
Right.
Well, you have to have some other things wrong with you before he gives you.
Is that what it is?
I'm gonna give Kenny common sense. We're gonna give you a voice.
But you also have to keep it in context, Kenny, because the lineage poured into that voice.
Absolutely.
And that lineage was part of this radio.
That's how this got started.
Absolutely.
T. Marshall
Radio
Kelly
station
and Jerry
for
Warren.
33 years?
That's true. He was on here for
over that.
Over that?
Longer than that. All of us who do anything with the radio station stand on his shoulders. Because he wasn't just a person who came on the air from time to time. He poured into people who were part of that station. He invested in the station.
Yes.
He did so much to make that station what it is today and continues to be.
He loved
and so as we close, absolutely. I want to honor the memory of T. Marshall Kelly.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, great conversation.
Thank you.
It's been real as always.
Yeah, we're on this week now. Back to Zoom Family Worship.
That's right.
We're looking forward to social justice.
Roundtable Part 8.
Part 8. So we're looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right, guys, great talking to you.
All right, man.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment with more of the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson at Second Chance. I hope you're having a great day.
Off the chain, as usual.
Lord, you should know I've tried it on my own, put my faith in me, but the truth came to be. Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. And I'm sure you can tell, but I ain't been well. Away from your presence, feeling lost, getting desperate. I need you. Lord, I need you. Living on my own and everything is going wrong. Didn't want to admit it, but now, Lord, I get it. I need you. Lord, I need you. And I want you to know, wherever you go, I follow you, Lord. You see me through, Lord, I need you. Oh, Lord, I need you. Lord, I need you. no gimmicks, no strings. I'm doing my part, you can have all of me. Nothing will ever come between, Lord, I need you.
Why do we say praise 90.1 FM? Because the blessing is in the praise.
And I shall live, live and not die. I shall amazing grace, how sweet the sound to save the wretch like me. Said I was too lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see.
Filling your day with songs of praise. Praise 90.1 FM.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Hey, welcome back to the Second Chance radio broadcast Homecoming 2024 edition on the Oakwood University campus. You may hear a little sound in the background. That's because the vibe is huge right now because people are everywhere. They're taking an opportunity to be a part of the market out here. I see a bunch of inflatables, so that means that kids are out here. Anytime kids are here, there's great energy. I see food trucks out here. So wherever food is, you know there are going to be people. And I see lots and lots of people that I know. Shout out to the class of 79. That's my class. And there's some other class that are being recognized too, but okay. We want to show love for everybody, but shout out to the class of 1979. It's been a long time since your boy's been in the game. And why is my guest laughing at me over here? I don't know if I want to introduce her now. She's laughing at me. No, she's laughing because she's a good friend of mine. Michelle Cooper is with me this afternoon. Michelle Cooper, what's going on?
Man, Kenny Anderson, what's up? It's about time I got to be on this show. It's been some years.
It's been some years, you're right. And I'm always looking for people to have expertise in a lot of different areas. Of course, you're in the medical, healthcare, physician's assistant area. Mm-hmm. You're doing some great work there, but I don't want to talk about anything about that today.
Yes,
I want to talk about
put that to the side.
I want to talk about your journey at Oakwood because you're back because you're an alumnus of Oakwood.
Absolutely.
And you now have a daughter here at Oakwood. And I want to first of all ask you about what does coming back in these kinds of spaces for these kinds of opportunities mean for you as a graduate of Oakwood?
Oh, wow. That's a cool question because, first of all, I'm just one of these people who seem to not miss Oakwood alumni. I think everybody relies on me to come because they look for my pictures. I usually post anywhere between 80 and 2,000. No, I'm just kidding. But Kenny, no, all jokes aside, coming back here is some nostalgia going on here. Mm-hmm. I mean, I came in '84, and ooh, did I say that? I came in 1984. I like to say it was 2004, but I came in '84, and this is wonderful. Yeah. And the reason it's so wonderful is because life is so precious. Life is precious. We lost a lot of people. Yeah. We lost a lot to see people on the screen where we have to, be silent for because of them dying. All kind of things are going on. But coming back here, just seeing everybody, just all the colors and the beauty and the memories is fun. The stories, a lot of them are good stories. A lot of them are not so good stories. And then a lot of them are private stories. And so I'm just happy whenever I step foot on this campus, for real. I get almost kind of emotional. Yeah. Because it's great. And my daughter's here, so I'm super happy.
Yeah, what's that been like for her to be following in her mom and dad's footsteps here at Oakwood University?
Well, so obviously she has his personality. She's not over the top like her mom. But I will say that she kind of have followed in my footsteps as far as medicine goes. So she's a biology major, Mario Cooper. She came here 2 years ago. And she came as a early college student. So she actually got her associate's degree a week before her high school diploma.
Wow.
And so she came here. She got the top scholarship. So she did well academically. She's in biology. She's under the leadership of Dr. Vanderpool. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Can I just say?
Yeah, that's huge.
It's huge because she has done a phenomenal job with my daughter.
Yeah.
She even told me, Dr. Vanderpool said, I hope you don't mind. She's going to be my daughter now. And I'm like, hey, if you're going to feed her and pay her. No. I'm
cash out.
Yes. But she has done more than what she even stated that she would do.
Wow.
She has taken my daughter under her wing. And it's been an incredible journey for Marielle because Marielle is not just a biology major, but she has already been accepted into 2 med schools, early acceptance. One is UAB and one is Loma Linda.
Wow.
She's probably going to go to Loma Linda. We went to Loma Linda a couple of weeks ago, had a tour. She loved it, and so she's studying for the MCAT. And so she graduates from Oakwood next year.
Wow.
And she even was told by her advisor, you actually have enough credits to come out in December of this year. And we're like, hold on, okay, you're going to miss college life. Just enjoy this time.
Yeah, right.
And so she's coming out next spring.
Okay.
And then after, a couple months after that, she'll be going to med school.
Wow.
So we just on top of the world.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
That has to be an amazing experience and affirmation, too, of not just her journey here at Oakwood, but also your investment as parents in her career, her ability to kind of think about lots of different things, but also take advantage of some of those things when she's in high school. And that's something I tell young people all the time. Take advantage of those opportunities. They will set you up for the next step in life. And clearly Marielle has been set up for the next step in life. You're getting ready to leave town and return back home, but is there anything you haven't done that you'd like to do in the next 35 minutes before you leave?
Let's see. Well, I've already taken probably about maybe 200 or 300 pictures. So I'm done taking the pictures.
Right.
I've already taken some of you and I that I'll be posting probably in about 5 minutes as soon as you release me. But let's see. I've already been under the tent. I've hugged everybody.
Yeah.
Kenny, it's been complete.
Yeah.
It's been complete, and that's what I try to make alumni every year that I come. I try to connect with as many faces, even people that say, which is sometimes a little embarrassing, hey, Michelle, oh my God, how are you? And I'm like, hi, who are you? But it's still great because the love is still there.
Yeah.
And I never like reject anyone. I'm like, hey, because if you're on this campus, then we share something in common.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's nothing that I haven't done.
All right.
I'm just waiting on some more people to connect with to cash out my daughter some more money because she's taking all of our money for tuition and everything. I'm just kidding.
Well, I want to tell you that, and I want to affirm what you just said about the whole idea about running into folk, because I have to confess, there's like about 2 seconds of anxiety sometimes in those situations, because I know the next question is going to be, you don't remember me, do you? I'm like, y'all spare me of that, you don't remember me, do you? I mean, just look, we see each other, we're smiling, we're happy to see one another,
Yes.
We're in the same place, we have a common experience. Let's just leave it right there.
Yes, because there could be a rabbit hole that we can go down that we don't want to, because I don't recognize you, and it's okay. So let's just leave it as, hey, don't worry about it. Just how are you?
Michelle, listen, it's always great to see you. Great to chat with
Kenny.
you.
Thank you.
You're just a StreamYard link away from us here in Huntsville, so we're going to have you back on the broadcast at points. I know you've got some things happening that you want to talk about and share as well at the appointed time, and we're going to keep following up with you on those kinds of things.
Yes.
And we want you to be a regular visit on this broadcast so that we can make sure people know and hear your story.
Absolutely. Yes, you got to have me back, because I got to tell y'all about my ancestry DNA when I found my family. But that's another conversation for another time. I'm just happy to be here. I'm glad for your staff. They've been wonderful. They got snacks and stuff waiting on me, so I got to go.
It is so great to see you, Michelle Cooper. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.
Kenny, thank you. Thank you for you and your staff. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for having me.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment with more of the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson at Second Chance. I hope you're having a great day.
Why do we say praise 90.1 FM?
There's a praise on the inside
For guidance.
that I can't keep tonight.
inspiration.
Hold on, hey, just be strong.
For upliftment. Giving you continuous praise on Praise 90.1 FM.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Hey, it's Kenny Anderson coming to you live once again from the campus of Oakwood University. It is Homecoming Weekend 2024. You may hear a little sound in the back, and that's not by accident. That's because there are lots of people milling around at the market right now. They're having a great time out here. I see people as far as my eyes can see, and sometimes that's not very far, but I'm seeing them. I mean, they're everywhere. They're to the right of me. They're to the left of me. They are to the, let's see, that's the east of me, and they're also behind me to the west. So there are people everywhere. I even see my good friend Wayne Darville, who I actually grew up with in New York, is standing over that way, and it's just great to see everybody here today. Joining me right now, ahead of another special guest, Daniel Smith is with me at this time.
What's up?
Latrice NJ is here with me, and she is, of course, you're going to do it. I know you're going to do it. I know you can. Yes, you can. There you go. She did it. Mission accomplished. Latrice, how you doing?
I am good.
Listen, I am so excited. A lot of you may have seen Daniel before, but you saw him virtually because he is a part of a ministry called The Squad. And The Squad airs every Saturday morning. My time here in Huntsville is 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, and it is a virtual ministry that is non-traditional in many ways. They have contemporary conversations about things that are happening. Daniel, how did that ministry come to be?
Wow. You know, everything kind of stems out of COVID. You know, COVID that was the starting point, because when we were locked in, couldn't go to church, couldn't fellowship, I was praying, and the Holy Spirit kind of gave me this idea where we can have a virtual Sabbath school, but more contemporary for younger adults and even like the younger youth. And so I came up with this concept called the Quad Squad, and that developed into the Squad and Friends. And it's more of a take on where the Bible meets current events. So you have current events that's going on, we talk about it, and we apply these events to the Bible and how it affects our lives. So we use the lesson study. We call it the Bible study because we have a lot of non-Adventists that watch us. So, you know, it's a true ministry going out there, not just to us, but also those who are not familiar with the Seventh-day Adventist Church or our message. So we package it in a nice way. We start out with a little cartoon, you know, nice little contemporary beat. And,
a little sound draws you in.
Yeah, you know, and next thing you know, you're just getting that word.
And Latrice, you've actually been a guest on the broadcast before, as I have, of course. Always honored to, I don't have to be a guest. I'm just excited to be in that space because I hear so much, I learn so much, and I'm inspired so much.
Praise the Lord.
What is that what has that squad experience been like for you?
Oh, that's a great question. First, thank you for having me here today. That was a wonderful experience for me. I've also been in a space where I've led Sabbath school before, and I'd like to make Sabbath school relevant to what's happening in our lives, right? It shouldn't be something that we just read and know that David had faith or that Abraham had faith, but it helps us apply it to everyday life, like he's saying. So it was a really good experience to me.
And you have a personal kind of story yourself that has led you to where you are today in terms of what you're doing, and one of the things you're doing here as a part of the market today. So give us the Cliff Notes version of that.
Okay. I love the Cliff Notes. Cliff Notes version is, at my heaviest weight, I was 218 pounds. I'm not there anymore.
Wow.
And within the last 3 years, I started lifting weights. I actually started in 2021. And it has made the difference between me crash dieting and actually having a lifestyle of total health and wellness, mind, body, and soul. So I really am here to just help people understand. I'm 50, over 45. We can still be healthy and happy and whole. And that's what I want people to
Dan,
do.
I love the way she embraced 50,
I
man. That's the
know.
way you're supposed to do it. Yeah, I'm 50. What you going to do about it?
That's right.
Because when you feel good and you look good, what do you got to run from, right?
That's right.
And
the
that's
Lord knew what he was doing.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great thing. Listen,
And you were dynamic praise too. It
I was.
part of
I
that
was.
reunion.
Yes.
35th year reunion this weekend.
Got
Lots.
to go and see my peeps today.
Hey.
Take the photos. It was
Hey.
a great weekend.
Yeah, listen, I remember DP. I mean, it says something about my age, which is okay, but I remember DP was just a baby. It was just an infant. It was just starting, and, Benji, of course, and all the crew that was part of that.
Wayne, Owen.
Wayne,
all those
Owen,
people.
oh, man, all of those
Yes.
people that were making that thing happen. Dynamic Praise was transformational for this institution because we had just not seen that before.
I had never seen it before coming to Oakwood. I did not know we sang like that before
Yeah.
I got to Oakwood.
Yeah.
I sang Sandy Petty growing up.
Which is a good thing,
Right. So when I got here and I heard gospel, I said, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We have harps in my church. I did not know.
Might want to do a little something different and see what's going on over here.
And loved it.
Yeah, and space was opened up for that to happen,
That's
and
right.
that's an amazing thing.
That's
and
right.
really, that to me is a part of what the homecoming story is all about. All of these different things that we can lean into, and things that we can embrace, and things that we can carry forward, and that we can just reminisce about.
Yes.
As a consequence of that Oakwood journey and that Oakwood experience. Dan, I understand you didn't have the Oakwood experience.
Well, I had it only during the alumni, so to say, because I went to Andrews University, but a lot of my relatives, the Davises, Olivia Davis, his cousin, Dr. Tate, they taught here. My grandmother, Carrie Smith, she went here, was honored as being one of the oldest members. So I just said, let me try something else.
Yeah.
So I went west.
Yeah. And that's
in
fine.
Michigan, West Michigan.
West Michigan. That's fine because you're part of the crew now.
Yeah.
You have been a huge supporter of Oakwood University over the years.
Alumni president of
Alumni-
Orlando chapter back in the day.
That's right. Just very supportive of that. And you have these kinds of experiences that are really extraordinary, I think.
That's
that
right.
People can come back.
You make friends and bonds that last forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. Well, I am appreciative and grateful for this opportunity to be able to talk to you all today. You all are bringing all this bright sunshine because I hadn't seen it until now. So I want to thank you for doing that. I hope that my next guest doesn't draw the clouds back.
Oh, my goodness.
It's almost impossible for him to do it because he's such a dynamic brother. And we're looking forward to talking to him in just a few moments. But I want to thank you all. Latrice, Dan, tell people where they can find the squad.
You can check out the squad on Facebook or YouTube, and we have Joy Broadcasting Network. That's a network that I've started. Sean Smith, who also went to Oakwood, and it's Joy Broadcasting Network that can be found on YouTube. Roku, Amazon Prime, Fire Stick, Apple TV. We're just spreading increasing the ministry.
Yeah, and the squad has actually been picked up by some other
Yeah.
and pushing it out across the world.
Yeah, it's worldwide. Yeah, Envision Radio that's seen and heard in 2 countries, and Life Radio UK.
Yeah. So doing big things. Latrice, how can people connect with you and find out how they can have a makeover in their life?
I love it. So you can get access to our 360-degree wellness app through the Apple Store and Google. So look up CamFit Health. Also on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, we are camfit.health. Look us up.
Yeah.
Support us. Like us. Follow us.
Listen, if
Get the app.
anybody told me I was 218 pounds and this is what I look like today, I'd be like, yo, what'd you do? We need to talk.
Amazing.
So when those kinds of revolutionary experiences happen in people's lives, they aren't magical things. It really happened to somebody. And it's important for people to place themselves in a position to hear from people who've had the experience that can have an impact on their life. So thank you for sharing your testimony. Dan, thank you for being here today.
Always a pleasure, Kitty.
Yeah. Well,
Scoop Anderson,
and
mayor of Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I don't know where it went, but I think it's
Your
over here somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
I should flash my colors.
That's right. Yeah.
The
squad.
Because the squad is in the house. There's no question about that. Thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be back in just a moment with more of the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson at Second Chance. Hope you're having a great day.
There's a love so high that you cannot get over. That same love so wide. It'll take forever just to get around it. But love died somewhere behind that cross you wear. You're afraid when you look at me. That ain't real love. Not the kind from above. But there's a friend of mine that stays closer than a brother. Ooh, love laid down his life. So why do we still fight one another? All this hate I see on the TV screen in my country, 'tis of thee. God help us to love the way that you love me. Help us to love the way that you love me. Oh, this world is weeping, hurting, broken, and begging for change. Oh yeah, but still we marching, praying, dying, things stay the same. When will we see till everyone's free? There'll never be peace between you and me. God, your love is the cure for the rich and the poor. God, please will you open our eyes? 'Cause I wanna love so high that you cannot get over. Ooh, I wanna love so wide. It'll take forever just to no, but it don't come cheap. It takes everything to make love more than a dream. God help us to love. God help us to love. We need your love. Fill us with your love. We need your God help me to love the way that you love me.
Just now, another kid dropped out of school. There's one every 20 seconds.
If we do nothing, 3.5 million kids won't receive a diploma over the next 4 years. But there is someone who can change that. You. United Way knows that kids who have a caring adult in their life are more likely to make it. So make a pledge. Tutor. Mentor. Volunteer to read with children. And the difference between a dropout and a graduate could be you. Take the pledge to volunteer now at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Hey, Bev, you're next. Hey, we want to welcome you back to our 2024 Oakwood University Homecoming edition of the Second Chance radio broadcast. I got to tell you, folks, I'm feeling the vibe right now. It's live on this campus. There are people everywhere right now, from the north to the south, from the east to the west. I mean, I'm just seeing a sea of people just talking and sharing and engaging and collaborating and connecting and being inspired by the space that we're in. I'm seeing all kinds of people I've known for decades. I mean, this is actually one of the classes that are being honored this year is the class of 79, which is my class, and I've got a couple of people coming up next who actually are part of that class that go back as part of my own legacy almost 50 years ago now when we met, which is just blowing my mind as I think about it. But right now I've got sitting with me an illustrious alumnus of the institution and then some, and his name is Dr. Sidney Freeman. He's been on the broadcast before. In fact, Dr. Freeman is part of my collaborators for the What's Going On segment. I don't bother him a lot because he's doing so much. And when he can show up, I'm appreciative. But he's shown up physically today, so that makes up for all the times that I may not have been able to secure his input for the broadcast. Dr. Freeman, what's going on, brother?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here in person.
Man, that means a lot to me because you are a busy brother who's doing a lot of things, and I wish we had so much more time to talk today, but I'm going to hit it right away. You're working currently at an institution that has done some forward-thinking kinds of things as it relates to something that many states like my own are doing some regressive thinking as it relates to DEI and representation and things of that nature. Talk to me briefly first about the work that you're embedded in at your university, and then I want to ask you a few other questions.
So I was the main visionary in reestablishing our Black Cultural Center on campus. So now we have a staff of 3 on campus.
Wow.
That was something that we fought for during 2020 because we had a Black Cultural Center previously, but it was student run and there was no leadership there. Also, in the last 2 years, we started the Black History Research Lab. We've gotten commendations from the governor, the U.S. Senate, but just chronicling the history of blacks in the state and more specifically the university. And lastly, and most excitingly, in the last couple months, we started something called the Black Research Institute for Flourishing and Thriving, where the goal is to talk about ways in which black people can thrive in predominantly white environments.
Yeah. You know, I want to ask you, first of all, what is the significance of that to you as a scholar in this particular area, somebody who is deeply invested in understanding these things that are happening in that particular space as it relates to the higher education arena, as it relates to things that are happening in our society today? What do you see as the significance of these things happening?
I think it's important that people have a sense of belonging, even in spaces where you wouldn't readily say that they would belong. And so while I wish everyone had the Oakwood experience, I understand that some students are going to go to UAH. Some students are going to go to Calhoun. And so how do we have individuals embedded in those types of institutions to ensure that they are having an experience that is not detrimental to them, but they are able to thrive and flourish while being in that white space?
Yeah, I'm also inspired by the fact that you are invested in research. You have just sort of an active eye and participation in that space as well, contributing to the dialogue in that arena right now so that you stay on top of these contemporary issues that matter in the academic space. Let me ask you this. Our state just passed a law that says DEI offices beginning October the 1st in state-funded institutions will have to consider whether or not they continue forward or whether they somehow modify the focus of what they're doing so that they don't step into the landmine of quote-unquote divisive concepts, a very subjective thing that they tried to define as things related to topics and subjects and forums and conversations that might make people feel uncomfortable, shamed, or guilty about the past. What are your thoughts about that here happening in Alabama, where you went to UA, which is going to be impacted.
Auburn.
I always say that.
War Eagle.
I don't know why I can't get that straight.
Two-time graduate
of Auburn University. Why would I possibly desecrate this brother that way? But Auburn, you went to Auburn. But these are two of the 13 academic institutions that will be impacted as a consequence of this. How do you see that juxtaposed with what's happening in the state of Idaho?
No, it's the same thing. So don't think that Idaho state legislators are not looking at what's going on here. And one of the big challenges that we have is that one day I walked into our Black Cultural Center. I was looking for the director. They said he's taking a day off. And what had happened was the day prior, a state legislator brought a bill to the legislature that said that his position and specific positions at the university and at the other universities, that they needed to be eliminated. So they're directly going at positions. And so it's a challenging thing. One of the things that I am committed to is focusing on Black people.
Okay.
So my goal is there's only so much energy that you have to combat some of these things.
Yeah.
And so for me, my focus when I'm talking about Black flourishing and thriving is how do we find ways to empower Black people. I can't fight white, all these other things, but do what I can in my own sphere. I don't know if you know this, but this past Thursday, we established the Dr. Owen Troy Social Justice Classroom, I call it Research Center, here on campus. And so I feel like it's important for individuals like myself to plant those seeds. We don't know what's going to happen if the state has its way, whether in Alabama or in Idaho and other places. If they wipe out our centers, what are the things that we're doing that they can't wipe out?
Yeah.
And so that is what I'm looking to invest in and work with others to make happen.
From a point of preserving energy, which I think is a very valid point, it's something that all of us have to look at, because it would be easy to burn out in the process or end up fighting things that you cannot fight.
Yeah.
Not that you can't win, but that you cannot fight. And there's a difference in that. And the question I would ask is, so I came to Oakwood. I graduated from Oakwood. I took one Black psychology class. And in retrospect, I'm recognizing, or I shouldn't say not just recognize, many years ago recognized that a lot of our students who come out of the HBCU have no more understanding of the Black experience than people who come out of PWIs.
Yes.
And so my question is there a greater responsibility for our HBCUs in that space, albeit we're oftentimes under-resourced, understaffed, underfunded?
Yes. So a part of what I'm doing is hopefully an ongoing project with Oakwood. So Oakwood is my HBCU. Pine Forge Academy in Pennsylvania is my historically Black boarding academy. So I'm doing strategic things through my nonprofit, the Liberation Movement, to create scholarships or centers. So the week before last, I came to Oakwood and we filmed something called Decolonizing the Black Mind Curriculum, which will be a supplemental curriculum, Black history curriculum for both those students who may be in like 11th and 12th grade and then early on in college, right? So we'll have resources. So my thing is to be proactive. I thought that, in 2020, I was talking about doing this curriculum, and I thought, the time has passed for the curriculum, and now it's even more relevant now. So my thing is while I can concentrate and I keep my ear to the ground on what's going on in the state legislature and kind of in the public sphere, my goal is how do I invest in our young people now?
Yeah.
And so and not just talk, right? How do I take the resources that I have and pour those into our institutions? Because if not, we can have, our students come through here. Wouldn't it be a gross error for our students to come through here and not get the kind of rich history and understanding of who they are having been here?
Yeah. Well, maybe reacting to what we see happening in legislatures and saying, oh, what a shame. How did that happen? What are we going to do about that? The question really becomes, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
And so being active, being aware, being self-motivated and engaged are certainly ways to deal with that. Dr. Freeman, you are a lot of different places. You have a lot of different platforms. You're interested in connecting with people and making connections that can be meaningful and beneficial to you. How would people stay connected with you?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways. You can look up Dr. Sidney Freeman Jr. On Instagram. You can find me, Sidney Freeman Jr. on LinkedIn. If you want to email me, it would be thelibmovement@gmail.com. That's a way to just reach out to me directly. But my goal is to not talk. We got enough talkers. But how can we help our young people and give them what they need so that they can advance our community in a positive way?
Oakwood alum and two-time graduate of Auburn University.
Oh, you go.
I will never make that mistake again. I actually see my buddy Bobby Harvey over there. People have been asking about him. I'm going to try to flag him down, and maybe I can get him on the air for the first time in 33 years. But Dr. Freeman, thank you for being here with us today.
No problem. Thank
I appreciate you, and I look forward to continuing the dialogue wherever you might be.
Definitely. Blessings to you.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment with more of the broadcast. Kenny Anderson, Second Chance. Hope you're having a great day.
This neighborhood sure has changed in my lifetime.
All right.
You know, there was a time when people like me couldn't live here because of their race or the color of their skin. I'll never forget how I felt being told I wasn't welcome in this neighborhood, that this apartment was for whites only. That got better over time, but some people still didn't get equal treatment when it came to finding a home. Well, I own this building now. The Fair Housing Act made a difference for someone like me. It gives us the opportunity to live in communities of our choice, free from discrimination. The Fair Housing Act makes it illegal to discriminate in the renting or selling of a home because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, or disability.
If you believe you have experienced housing discrimination, contact HUD at 1-800-669-9777 or go to www.hud.gov/fairhousing.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Welcome back to the 2024 Oakwood University Homecoming edition of the Second Chance radio broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson, always a delight to be here with you in the studio for the broadcast. I see so many people right now. There's so much energy out here. The vibe is right. I don't want it to end, actually, but I know it's going to have to. People are going to have to go home, and as a consequence of that, I'm going to have to get back to my life. And that will be okay, but I've had a great weekend so far. And one of the reasons I've had such a great weekend is because the class of 79 was honored this weekend, and that's a class that is very familiar to my next two guests, at least one of my guests, because we were freshmen together. And my other guest, of course, was right behind us, and somehow they found each other, and they've been together ever since, which has been a really cool thing because they actually happen to be two of the coolest, dopest, most passionate, invested people that I know, and I'm honored that they choose to call me friend. I mean, if I call them friend, one thing, but they'd have to accept that. But they choose to call me friend. Dr. Beverly Robinson, what's going on, Doc?
Hello, Kenny. It's so good to be here. It's such an honor, and it's humbling.
Ted Robinson, my 1975 class. I've got that photo of you, me, and Jake Nixon at consecration from the 1975-76 yearbook. I don't care about dating myself because I'm still on the scene.
Yes, sir.
And I'm happy to say I'm still on the scene. So I'm very happy to have been in the freshman class of 1975 and the graduating class of 1979. What's going on, my brother?
We are honored and humbled to be here in your presence.
Man.
We're happy that you asked us to just come by and speak a word, share some fellowship.
Yeah.
We don't do it enough. And somebody said, in fact, I've been saying all weekend, somebody said, hey, man, it's good to be seen. I said, it's good to be seen and not viewed.
Yes, yes.
God rest in peace those who have gone on, some of our classmates. But we still here, bro, and you're looking good.
Well, thank you. I'm feeling good, and that's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to start right there. Doc, I want to tell you, first of all, again, I've had a chance to do it online, but not face-to-face. Congratulations on your academic achievements. I'm just, anytime I see somebody take that leap, it is an honor to know that somebody has deeply invested in their own growth and journey. I've always known you as a critical thinker anyway, and to take that last step in the academic journey to get your doctorate had to be an amazing thing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It was
quite a journey.
Well, the journey's over now, at least for now, in that context.
Yes,
and
it's over.
You've accomplished that. You're also an accomplished author, though, which is why I've had you on the broadcast in the past.
Yes. The title of my book, it's an autobiography. My name is Alvonia, the story of Beverly Robinson. Alvonia is my adopted name. I'm sorry, that's my original name. Beverly is my adopted name. And I was raised by my mom and my stepdad. And the story is riveting from age 4. And I was able to recall each step of the way, each year of the way. And I remember Maya Angelou, when she talked about I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, when she was assaulted sexually by one of her mother's courters. She went silent for years. And she said during those years, she paid such close attention that she could recall so much. And it reminded me why I could recall so much detail over all of the years, such that whenever I did finish penning my book, I've had persons who are older, much older than me, who would ask me, how do you remember these landmarks around the city? How do you remember these people? How do you remember these experiences? Because I was there and you described it precisely. And it's because I paid such close attention because of the trauma.
Yeah, wow. That is such an important conversation that we must always seek to have to ensure that those people who have been abused and victimized understand that they have a voice.
Yes.
And that we need to provide them with those channels to be able to communicate in that way. Ted, I follow you guys on social media because your lives are fascinating. Your beautiful granddaughter.
Keep us lifted in prayer.
Your beautiful granddaughter, for example, has been an inspiration for so many people, and you've created a village around her life that we all look forward to, the postings and the experiences that you're sharing. But more recently, you all made a lifestyle change in terms of where you're living and how you're living. And I'm enjoying that as much. I want to talk about that first, and I want to talk about the traveling aspect of this new life as well. So just tell me about that process and what has that been like for you to make this transition in terms of living?
It's been quite the joyous experience to what we call intergenerational cohabitation, meaning 2 or more generations living together, residing together, not just intermittently, but as a lifestyle. We're able to stay with our daughter, Dr. Carmen Robinson, and her daughter, our beloved, wrapped around fingers and arms, deliciously spoiled. And that's the duty of the grandparents to provide that secondary, if not tertiary, training for the kids' upbringing. But it's giving Carmen a relief to know that she has capable and competent care for her child without worrying about most things that most parents who have to put their kids in daycare or private care. But it's been a joy, and as a result, it's a mix between prodigious and precocious. And she's learning quickly. She's a quick study. She has her grandmother and mother, and her father She has a passion to learn. She's an eager learner. And so her village extends to most of our college circle, Oakwood specifically, and to her paternal side additionally. And during the pandemic, we said, wait, we can't visit with everybody, so let's just create an online presence. And that's how it started. And it's been a blessing to us, to Carson, and to many others who rejoice to see what she does from week to week.
May I add to that?
Yeah, please.
First of all, Carson gets her genius from her grandfather, Ted Robinson. I've always said he's the smartest man I ever knew in my life.
I'll take it.
But the intergenerational living is absolutely phenomenal. And my dad, who passed away last year, would often say to us, Alvonia, I'm so proud of y'all because this is how we lived back in the day. And this is how our families were set up from biblical times.
Wow.
You know, we didn't turn our families out, the parents and the grandparents, to aged homes. We didn't put them in there. We stayed together. And it has been absolutely wonderful just living with Carson, and she is hilarious. And I want to add this part. When the pandemic came, there was a lot of depression, as we know. There was a lady who reached out to us, and she doesn't hear the show. And she shared with us, thank you so much for sharing Carson with us. I look forward to seeing her Sabbath pictures and such. I was on the verge of taking my life.
My God.
But because I knew you all were going to place another picture the very next Sabbath, I just stayed in there. It is a ministry. It is a ministry to share our lives with one another.
That's powerful. For so many different reasons, at so many different levels. I am in awe of something that's happening with you all that I wonder if you all think more people will begin considering, that intergenerational learning. You know, we talked about the Great Migration back in the 30s and the 40s when people moved north. And now people are moving back south again. But the other thing that people might be doing, because we've got many more people who are caregivers for their aging parents, and you have people who are going through the transition of separation, divorce. You know, those are the realities on the ground with a lot of people who are now taking a look at, who are my family members? Who is my village? And who do I need to stay connected to? Who can provide that comfort and security and safety for me? Do you think this is something more people might want to look at and consider? And does that come through just a family conversation?
It does from time to time, and we are, again, we're privileged and honored to be able to have this lived experience. And I wish that more, particularly persons and professionals of color, would give consideration to, when they're planning for the next house or an expansion, create space for an elder. The elder brings a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experiences, and their combined intrinsic experiences enriches the community, the collective rather. So I wish that more people. It's easy to get a condo here because you're able to. It's easy to put mom and dad over here because it's more convenient. You don't have to be bothered. But there is a blessing in sharing the stewardship of time with family.
Wow. Something that we all realized to some degree during the pandemic was really something that is a lot of value. The gift of time. The gift of connection. The thing that took us apart in many instances. Of course, if you were a close family, you kind of stayed together. But I think we all were inspired to think about those values so much more. And as an addendum to your transitioned lifestyle, I also see you guys traveling a lot. You know, not that you didn't do it before, but I'm seeing you posting up in different places. I'm like, yo, you know, that looks pretty good to me. Tell me about what's happening there, and there's more to come.
There is indeed more to
Nosotros vacaciones en la cómoda se me gustan.
I love when he talks like that. I love when he does that. So, as you know, I retired last year.
Yes.
And Odell has been retired for several years, and we could not travel as often because I was tethered to the office.
Right.
But once I retired, we put those passports into play and just carved out time to look at other places. You know, we've traveled in Europe and traveled in Jamaica, the islands and such. So just recently we started traveling to South America. And in fact, we have applied for our retirement visa there and looked at some real estate down there. And of course, we can't just, untether ourselves from our family and live there. But it's just so exciting when you travel. And we have ventured out to take people with us, travel with friends. And I'm so glad you talked about Robinson, you talked about opening up a space for elders and such.
Yeah.
If you've noticed, the pandemic did so much damage in separating people and such. If you've noticed, it seems like people are a lot more intense about their hugs. They're hugging tighter. And what Ted and I have done, we have started inviting people. We've always been sharers. We've always been hospitality driven. So we invite people, come on up to Asheville. We'll roll out the red carpet because we love to entertain, but we just want to see our family and our friends. So we hug a little bit tighter, love a little bit harder. So we travel. We love to travel, and travel just gets rid of so much ignorance.
Yeah, wow. It does, because you get exposed to life that's lived in different ways.
Exactly.
That are uncommon to your experience.
Exactly.
When we travel, we like the immersive experience, cultural immersion. We don't consider ourselves tourists, we're not, ooh and on, but we try to find where everybody else who lives there already eat, where they worship. One of Beverly's passions is to visit churches. And on our last visit to Sabaneta, Colombia, we visited a Catholic church mid-afternoon where they had one of the most beautiful services that we've ever witnessed.
Wow.
And a lot of people, why would you want to do that? Well, why wouldn't you?
Right. Exactly.
Learn about others.
Yeah.
And you'll recognize the sameness, the oneness that we all share.
Wow.
I'm a member of a group called Sisters Traveling Solo. And I did my very first solo trip to Rome and to Croatia. And one of the things... That
was a long 10 days. Somebody bless.
It was such an adventure. And our daughter, who we've taught to be highly independent, had taken solo trips, and she said, "Mom, I want you to consider doing a solo trip in this life." And she purchased the tickets, and I was scared, but I went on it. And growing up, I always read these geography books, and I would say, because of my life, because we lived in abject poverty and such, but my teachers and my librarian would hand me these geography books, and I would scour through them and say, one of these days I'm going to travel here and there. So when I landed, if you don't mind me telling this quick story.
Please.
When I landed in Rome, and my husband and I had been there before, but I'm by myself in this huge airport. And when I landed and got my driver, Carmen and Ted had gotten a private driver for me, and it's a limousine-style SUV. And I'm sitting in there, and I'm looking and driving, seeing all of these antiquities, seeing the aqueducts, seeing the old churches and such. And I burst into tears because this was a childhood dream of mine. And here I am doing that. And of course, when I got to the hotel, my phone wasn't working properly or whatever. And Carmen calls the hotel and said, I need proof of life. Where's my mother? But traveling, and especially that I was a DEI professional along with my finance profession, traveling just does something for you. Being able to travel with my husband, our kids had their passports when they were little, and our grandkids had their passports before they got to the 6-month old age.
Wow.
Yeah, so we recommend traveling.
Yeah. Get out of your space, you know. Don't ever find yourself in a situation where you're saying, I've never been out of the state.
Yeah.
County.
The county, yeah.
Right.
Please go somewhere, because when you go somewhere, you really get to see how life is lived in other kinds of ways. That is so valuable to expanding our understanding of the world, and also showing us how those differences actually add up to something valuable to us, but it also shows us the common ground that we stand on.
Exactly.
I always tell people, you know, you put a plate of food in front of me, I'm there. I don't care where you are. I don't care where the meal is being had. If you invite me to the table, it's one of the most neutralizing things that anybody can do. I don't have to talk to you about what I believe in, what I think about this, that. It's a food good. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's a fellowship good. That's all I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
And then neutralizing forces that we find and discover in those spaces of adventure.
I like that.
Moving outside of those protected spaces that we sometimes covet and cherish. And I'm very proud of. You know, no, this is what it is and how I think and how I believe and feel. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. We're fearlessly and wonderfully made.
I'm so glad you
that
said
doesn't
that.
put us in a box.
Living outside of the bubble.
Yes.
And I love that you mentioned the protected spaces. We have grown up in our churches, our own silos, our own cones, and we have considered those our protected spaces. And Ted just mentioned that I love to go to different churches. Here I am, Seventh-day Adventist, but when we're in Europe or in Malta or Croatia, I'm going to these Catholic churches because the edifices are so beautiful, and I consider them sacred as well. That may shake some people, but I go in there and I get on my knees in that quiet space, and let me tell you, I also genuflect.
Come on.
I genuflect, Kenny.
I'm with you.
Because if it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, why can't I genuflect in that sacred space? Because this is between God and me.
That's it.
It is not about religion.
That's it. I went to a mosque here in Huntsville, the Huntsville Islamic Center one time, and it happened to be around 6 o'clock in the evening. It's prayer time. So they invited us, me and another friend of mine, who lots of people would know if I called his name, went, and they invited us. So what was I going to do? Say, no, I'm not going to go with you. It was prayer time. I know who I pray to. And if I think that God is so small that he either can't fix me if I'm wrong, or allow for me the opportunity to experience him in a full way that goes beyond my silo, why wouldn't I do that? Right. So somebody asked me, and they literally asked me, well, who'd you pray to?
Wow.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so when I went in the mosque, I mean, did somebody else become my God?
Right.
I mean, it's insane the way people think about that kind of stuff. And so I know I'm confident and secure in who I am. That's unshakable. Yes. I know that. And my role in life is not to make somebody who I'm not, who they aren't, or to make somebody who I am. That's not my role. That's somebody else's. That's higher than my pay grade.
I like that.
And it will always be that way for me. So, listen, I could talk to the Robinsons forever. That just means we either have to fellowship together, travel together. We got to do something together.
Come to Asheville.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
And we'll roll out the red carpet, I promise you.
I'm going to come to Asheville before the end of this year.
Please do. Please
It'll
do.
happen
Mouth
before
to
the
God's
end of
ears.
this year. Yeah, before the end of this year, we'll coordinate it.
We'll put the key under the mat and leave the light on.
I have one final request before you sign off.
Yes,
sign us off.
Please.
Would you pass down that jar of candy this way? I see you selfishly have it hoarded there.
No. I'm going to pass it because if it sits next to me too long, I didn't notice the Hershey Kisses in there. If it sits next to me too much longer, I'm going to be in trouble.
Well, my specialty is chocolate kisses.
And I have loved them for almost 45 years.
And he's going to prove it right now.
I'm trying to get
He's trying to prove it right now.
My best friend in the world, 45 years together. Totally.
The love that these two share is a role model in life. I absolutely adore Ted and Beverly and what they represent to me in my life as friends, for almost 50 years now.
Yeah.
Next year will be 50 years since we met at Oakwood University.
Wow.
And that is absolutely astounding. And we've just kept that journey on along the way, and I'm very happy for that. Thank you all for joining me this afternoon and enriching my presence.
Thank you
very much.
Bless you.
We'll be back in just a moment with another guest on this special edition of the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson at Second Chance. Hope you're having a great day.
We as Americans.
Awesome, my brother. Thank you so much.
They served our country. It's the least we can do.
We can't forget about them.
They put their lives on the line for us.
Yes, of course I want to help.
I want to help.
Yeah, I want to help. I just don't know how.
Now there's a way to help our veterans, service members, and their families. CommunityBlueprintNetwork.org. Working together, we can help those who served and their families. CommunityBlueprintNetwork.org. Log on today.
Why do we say praise 90.1 FM? Because the blessing is in the praise. Why do we say praise 90.1 FM?
There's a praise on the inside
For guidance.
that I can't keep to myself.
For inspiration.
Hold on, hey, just be strong.
For upliftment. Giving you continuous praise on Praise 90.1 FM.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson on the scene here at Oakwood University, live remote here on the campus. We are in the middle of an amazing 2024 homecoming experience. There are lots of alumni and friends who have descended on the city of Huntsville. Hey man, good to see y'all. I'm seeing so many people walking by, and it's great to see them. This is actually an opportunity for the Oakwood Alumni Association to recognize my class, which is the class of 1979. And so I'm seeing a lot of people from my graduating class, people that I met here almost 50 years ago next year as freshmen. And also lots of visitors, lots of family, lots of friends. A lot of those folk, of course, have kids and grandkids now. So I'm getting to meet them as well. And it's just a lot of fun out here today. I see inflatables. I see food trucks. I see a big tent over here where people are selling merchandise. And I see, looks like there's a parade going on right now. The OU parade is happening. I'm seeing cars and all kinds of stuff. Whoa, that's pretty dope back there. I'm seeing some really nice cars going through the parade. So some really good stuff happening right now. But right here in this moment is our live remote. And my good friend Tim Allston is here with us at this time. Tim, welcome back to the Second Chance radio broadcast.
Thank you very much, and a happy first anniversary to you and me being on the set here for homecoming.
That's right.
At Oakwood. I mean, it's first of all, congratulations on your class reunion.
Yes.
The reunion class. And also, I want to thank you, and the listeners need to know the fact that last year this time, I think it was April 9th, that Kenny allowed me the privilege to debut my brand new book, even before it had been finished writing. And so I've been able to finish writing the book. The book is entitled Where Jump Shots Meet Jesus. I debuted it here. God has blessed it. Kenny has sanctioned it. As a result, now it is in the Amazon top 1% of sales around the world. It's ranked, last time I looked, like number 228, and it got its jump start here. And so I felt it was only fitting and appropriate that I would come back to jumpstart an extension of this program to a fellow author, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Absolutely, Tim. Well, listen, congratulations on the success of the past year. We did have that honor and privilege. We were actually across the street over at the Oakwood University Farms last year. Doesn't matter where it is, we're always about making news and being able to inspire people in positive ways.
You're absolutely right, Kenny. And the thing, and you talked about this being homecoming. We've debated back and forth over years whether it's alumni weekend, is homecoming, but it's a homecoming because it's coming home for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I dare say, and there's no real data to support it, but I would guarantee you almost that roughly 25, maybe 30% of the people out here went to Oakwood. The rest are people like me who come and support the college, came to support the university because of the culture, because of what it does, because of what it launches. I mean, earlier this week, it's homecoming week, we launched the OU Writers Gather, where we bring together Oakwood authors, much like yourself, and also those who are aspiring authors, so that we could do that push and pull movement of push our way out into the mainstream, but also pull those behind us who want to do that. And that's the program that I'm getting ready to start on, I'm going to announce on Tuesday, April 16th.
Yeah, wow, that's exciting because I was just talking with a group of first graders on this past Friday. There's a program at Moore School called Parade of Readers, and I was invited, as I am every year, to come and read to this group of first graders, and they're always enthusiastic and excited. I pick a Dr. Seuss book, they get excited, I get excited, so we're all in this space for about 30 minutes and really highly motivated. But I got into a conversation with the coordinator of this program and a couple of the teachers at Morris Elementary, and last Friday was a testing day for a lot of the students, and we were just kind of anecdotally talking about how far too many students today at younger and younger ages actually are declaring their distaste for reading. They don't like to read. They don't want to read. There's a discomfort with reading. And we were just talking about how fundamental reading is to success in life. I grew up in public housing on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. I'm very proud of that because, number one, I had two parents who came home every day. They worked hard. They believed in education, even though they had 8th grade and 12th grade educations respectively. They sent their only son off to get the only sibling's 4-year degree accomplished here at Oakwood University. So they were big advocates for education. And part of that education was you're going to read. You're going to spend time going to the library. Your library card is going to be one of the most valuable cards in your pocket or your wallet. And it still is today, actually. I have a Huntsville Public Library library card because it's important to read. And so when you're talking about launching initiatives or writing books, what you're saying is really about the success that anyone can have in life.
You're absolutely right, Kenny. And I mean, reading is fundamental. We've heard that before, but also the fact, and the sad thing is, the statistics say that people remember 10% of what they read. They remember 20% of what they hear, but they remember 80% of what they see. And so, but it was interesting, and I'm glad that you're a part of that initiative. I couldn't help but ignore the fact that you did it on Friday, which was a testing day, and for the whole of Christendom, all the 2.56 billion people in the world that celebrate Christ's death was on Good Friday. So it was a test for us in terms of the ability to believe in our Savior, who died on that day, who who rested on Saturday, but on Sunday he rose. So testing day, it was beyond coincidence. But the other thing I like, Kenny, is it's sad that they don't like to read. However, Huntsville is abnormal to that process. According to the American Library Association, the average American community, only 40% of those people have library cards, which was a staple in your home and my home. But in Huntsville, like I said, 40% in most average American communities have library cards. But in Huntsville, that number is not 40, it's not 50, it's not 60%, it's not 70%, it's 76% of residents in Huntsville, Madison County have library cards. Wow. Our levels of educability are very high in this town. So I applaud your initiative, brother. Keep it up, because we've got to break that cycle of kids only wanting to get a partial education. But when you read, I mean, I was listening to the previous couple on here, the Robinsons, who travel a lot. I call them the travel family Robinsons. You know, many of us won't get that opportunity to travel. But when you read, you bring the world into your home, onto your laptop, onto that book. You put it in your mind, and you're able to be conversant with people all over the world. You learn how to ask questions. You don't have to know everything, but the ability to ask questions. If you ask a question, you'll only be ignorant 7 seconds longer.
Listen, Tim, tell me about the initiative in the last few minutes we have. I want to make sure people know about what's going on.
Okay. Kenny, for example, here at the Alumni Village, virtually, if I sell 10 books, and I've sold more than 10 books today, 6 of those people will say to me, "Man, I need to write my book." And I say to them, "Do it. Do it." I mean, look at you, Kenny. In 1994, you wrote a book on diversity. You probably had absolutely no idea that years later you would be the director of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the city of Huntsville. So for people like you and others who talk about writing books, my thing is I'm going to create a free online webinar on Tuesday evening, April 16th, probably 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I'm going to be addressing the subject, how to write, how to publish, and how to profit from a book. New York Times did a survey several years ago that said that 81% of Americans say they plan to write a book, but the reality is only 7% have already done that.
Wow.
So I am looking at saying to people, you've got life. Life is a story.
Yeah.
You need to tell your story.
Yeah.
So it's time to birth that baby inside of you, which is that book.
Yeah.
And once you birth that book, you create a whole nother world. Somebody out there will read that book.
Yeah.
Someone will be inspired by that book. And I've had people come to me and say, man, I liked your book, man, and it made me want to write. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
And it takes and we now know that technology has made it so very, very easy to write a book.
Yeah.
You begin by beginning. I have an 8-step process. I thought it, I fought it. I caught it, I sought it, I got it, I bought it, I brought it, and then I taught it.
It sounds simple enough, and it is. And we want people to take full advantage of it. Where will people be able to find information about the seminar, the webinar?
I'll have the information on my website, which is Tim Allston, Allston with 2 L's, timallston.com. But I'll also be putting it out because it's free. It's a public service announcement.
Yeah.
You have helped me to launch it, to debut it, to put it out there. I appreciate that, Kenny. I like your commitment to education. I love the scholarship fund you set up in your parents' name. I love the job you did at Calhoun Community College. I love the job that you're doing here in the radio for 32 or 33 years. You are a primary educator in a de facto way, and I want to say thank you. And that's why I wanted to debut this event here on Second Chance.
Well, we're excited about it. We're going to make sure as many people as possible know about it. We'll make sure that our Second Chance social media pages have that information, and we push that out and make sure as many people as possible know about it. And we'll look forward to taking advantage of that opportunity. So we look forward to hearing more about it and supporting you in your efforts as you move forward in the journey.
As you always have, Kenny. Thank you, and thank WJOU.
Absolutely. Tim Allston, we hope that you'll take advantage of the upcoming webinar. April 16th is the date. I think that's a Tuesday, isn't it?
It is a Tuesday,
yeah,
that's correct.
A lot going on that day, but that's something I'm definitely wanting you to be a part of, and I'm going to try to be a part of that as well. I know we got our Civic Engagement Academy going from 5:30 to 8 that night, but you better be there, and there's no question about it. We'll be back in just a moment with our final guest, Kenny Anderson, Second Chance. Hope you're having a great day.
Sitting here thinking about where I am now, and I'm where I'm supposed to be, in the middle of His will. I believe, Some people try to tell me I'm not worthy of my destiny, but they were not there when I cried. Lord, I need your help. And you replied, I'm taking care of this just saying I heard his call. No matter what you see, he believes in me. He chose me. The gifts he gave me are not easy to carry. I often wonder why he gave them to me. They did not hear when I cried, Lord, I need your help. And you replied, taking care of this myself. He did it for me.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Welcome back to the Second Chance radio broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson. As always, delighted to be here with you on the broadcast on Sunday afternoons, every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the campus of Oakwood University. Today happens to be a very special day. It is the 2024 Oakwood University Homecoming event. You may hear sounds in the background. That's because we're at the market, and there are people everywhere right now. It's a huge vibe where people are just experiencing fellowship and inspiration and joy and so much more. It's really been going down like that ever since Tuesday, because there was a big conference earlier in the week, a health equity conference that was hosted by a couple of great Oakwood graduates, Dr. Columbus Batiste and Danette Batiste. And I got a chance to experience that and just kept the vibe going right into Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And we're back here Sunday talking to lots of people. If you hear some drums in the background, that means that there is an Oakwood University Homecoming weekend parade going down right now. I tell you, they're just doing it all. They're doing the most today, and it's all right with me, because after it's over today, we just kind of go back to living our lives the way we normally live our lives. But if you listen to this broadcast enough, you hear a voice on the broadcast. In fact, you're going to hear it again next Sunday on the broadcast of this gentleman here that's sitting on my right. Reverend Derrick Green is with us today, and this is just kind of a great way to start like wrapping up the broadcast today, because he's a finisher. He's a closer. There's no question about that. And I'm just so glad that he's taken a little bit of time out of what is always an enormously busy schedule to be a part of my radio experience. Reverend Derrick Green, what's going on, my brother?
Kenny, it is so good to be with you again, as always. It's good to be back on the campus of Oakwood University, the place that molded my mind and gave me an opportunity to think and to be creative and to get a great education, the best in the world. And always good to be with you, Kenny, a man who you helped to mold who I am, Kenny, when you were a sponsor of Willing, Succeeding, and Black. And you saw a lot of young people who wanted to change the world, who wanted to deal with systemic racism, and you took time for us and to help mold us. I'm an organizer because of you. I think the way I think, largely because of your influence. And so it is always great to be with you whenever we're on this program.
Yeah, I think a lot about the journey because as quiet as it's kept in some circles, my journey professionally is, going to be experiencing some transition in the near future. And I'm thinking about a whole lot of things right now. And one of the things I think about a lot is my journey through Oakwood. Of course, they honored my class this year, 1979. Great seeing all the folk that I came to school with here. This blows my mind, Derrick. 50 years ago next year, we were here as freshmen.
Wow.
50 years ago next year.
Wow.
And when I think about that, I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm my mom and dad.
Yes.
It's like those are some crazy numbers when I think about that. But it's a great thing to have the ability to have homecoming weekends, to experience what you're talking about, the reconnections, the inspiration, the growth, the testimonies of people's lives that you've been a part of over the years. And one of the things I've always done, Derrick, is I've said to people, I'm not a hoarder of what has been given to me. I want everybody who wants what I can give to take it and run with it and take it as fast and as high as they want to take it. I'm not going to look at anybody and say, why are they running faster than me? How they get further than me? No, I want them to do that. WSB members have done that consistently.
Yes.
And it gives me so much pride, almost like a father. It's like, man, I talked to Anissa when she was here. Talked to Eric when he was here. I mean, every time I talk to somebody else, including yourself from WSB, and I see what you all are doing, it's like, my goodness. What has happened as a result of those times spent together nurturing and harvesting that right here on this campus? You were here last year with Koby Matlock. He's back here with you. I'm so glad you had a positive experience last year because you wouldn't have come back if that wasn't a positive experience. But you're back.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, look, I'm so glad to have you back. You were right here, on the campus last year in the same position, sharing and talking. How you been in the last year?
Oh, man, Mr. Anderson, I've been very well. I've been blessed. I've had a plethora of new experiences within this past year that has definitely molded me a little further. So I'm blessed to be able to have had a successful year in the past.
I know you've done a ton of things, but I want to talk politics for a minute because I know that's a big arena for you.
We can do that.
And the fact that you're in a space of activism.
Yes, sir.
And energizing.
Yes, sir.
Individuals as well as being inspired by yourself. Talk to me a little bit about what has that experience been like over the past year, and especially as we move forward to a big election in November of this year.
Oh, man. So I'd actually really just like to even talk about like a personal experience of mine. Last time I was on the show, I kind of spoke about my experience with the Westmore campaign, the gubernatorial campaign that I did in the election of Westmore for governor. This past year, within really the last few months, there's actually been some local politics things happening right down here in District 10, Huntsville, with Marilyn Lands, as you know, and absolutely we want to congratulate her for her win as well. She did end up winning. But a little bit more on that. In 2022, there was an election down here. Republican David Cole was the one that ended up winning the seat. He got arrested for voter fraud, and that in turn led to an emptying of the seat. And so Democrats down here in Huntsville in the District 10 area saw that as an opportunity to flip the seat to get Maryland in that house.
Yeah.
And so I've been working productively with that team, the Maryland Lands campaign team, to ensure that we get that outreach out there, we get the word out there, and we put in the work so that people know that that election was happening, and that it was our responsibility as Democrats in District 10, Democrats really nationwide, to be able to have more influence and more impact in these seats, especially in a red state. And so through our hard work with the team and also some of the people that we had come in to volunteer, we were able to do exactly what we set out to do. We reached all our goals, we hit the numbers, and we did get her in that seat.
Man, listen, this is why social engagement and social relationships are so dope. Because I met you last year for the first time. Little did I was celebrating Westmore and the work that you had done, investing in that process. What a wonderful person and what an amazing governor he's been
he is.
Up until now. I mean,
Absolutely.
I look forward to him doing even bigger things on the political scene in the future. He has that opportunity to do that. But little did I know that you would be invested in Marilyn Land's campaign. Marilyn and I have common backgrounds.
Really?
I'm a mental health professional, and so is she. Mm-hmm. I met her many years ago when it's Wellstone today, but the Huntsville Madison County Mental Health Center. She was there, and I was out in the community doing my thing. So I've known Marilyn for probably 25, 30 years. Wow. And I see her periodically from time to time at different events. Marilyn, I'm pulling for you, rooting for you. Yeah. Best of wishes to you. So the morning she won, on the night before that she won, but the next morning I woke up and saw she won, I immediately sent her a text and said, Marilyn, congratulations. So proud of that and looking forward to what you're going to do to represent our state. Let me ask you this. What do you think that means and how significant that is that seat was turned? Does that, in your mind, suggest energy in a different direction for our legislature in November?
I believe we all know the answer to that one. I think the answer would be absolutely yes. As you know, the more representation you have in any house, whether it be House of Representatives, Senate, Congress, the more representation that you have for these spaces, the more likely we will see policy changes, legislation changes, and elected official changes. It's all about the balance and political power in these houses and in these places. So the more people that we can get in these spaces, it only helps us.
Reverend Green, I really don't want to get into distractions, but, I can't let you get away understanding the role that you play in the faith community and the spaces that you're in. But former President Trump is selling Bibles.
Yeah.
It's a ploy. We know that, especially if you identify a book of the Bible as 2 Corinthians. We know very much how much you are connected to Bibles and matters of faith. But beyond that, the current president is underwater right now to some extent in terms of what the polls are saying. What does President Biden need to do to close the gap that's visible in the polls right now? Do you believe the polls are the best indicator of the direction of this election in November? And still recognizing that there's plenty of time between now and then for anything to happen, what are your feelings about the November general election right now for the president?
What I know is that a third of Americans believe that the election was stolen. A third.
That's deep.
It's a lot of people.
Yep.
A third of the electorate believe that the election was stolen. You cannot fight a lie with a lie. You have to fight a lie with the truth. And the truth is that President Trump is playing on the fears of many Americans, particularly the browning of America. It is a Christian white nationalist campaign. It's not even subtle. It's right there in your face. Even some of the far right MAGA Republicans are saying that the bridge collapse, that tragedy in Baltimore, is because we have a DE&I governor. We have a DE&I mayor, right? So DE&I is now the new N-word for some. It's a code word. They don't have to use the offensive N-word, so they say D&I, which gives the same sting to some. So President Biden has work to do, and that is to pull the Biden coalition that won the election for him in 2020. Those are African Americans, women, other minorities, LGBTQ plus IA community, young people are big. He has to communicate with young people about the things that he has done, and he also has to communicate with young people about why some of the things have not gotten done is because of the man who they are considering staying at home for, right? Staying at home. Staying at home is a vote for Donald Trump. If you are concerned about your student loans, it is because of the Trump Supreme Court. Biden passed an executive order to deal with student loans, to forgive them.
And has done so successfully.
And it was done successfully.
Yep.
The Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional. The Supreme Court overturned. Those are Trump supporters, and they are judges that were appointed by Donald Trump. Young people have to understand who their enemy is and who their enemy is not. The last thing that's happening is this, and people don't want to talk about it, but I do. They talk about Biden being old. Biden is in the right frame of mind. I forget sometimes. I'm 54. Okay? I
Don't
forget
call me
sometimes,
out, right?
I forget sometimes, right? But the real issue for most of these people who talk about his age is the fact that if something were to happen to him, a black woman would be president. We do not talk about how race is impacting this election, and it is. And so what we have to do is get that coalition. We got to go knock on doors. It can't just be a television. It can't be the white media consultants running the show in the Democratic Party.
Can't be an email.
It can't be an email. It got to be knocking on those doors.
Person.
It has to be organizing in those faith-based organizations, preserving their 501c3, but organizing and making sure that people come out and vote and be able to exercise their right to vote to ensure that a man who is the most un-American president we've ever had in our history is not reelected.
Well, he said it all. I mean, he did. This gentleman right here said it all. So there's nothing else for me to say because he said it all. And that's why he's Reverend Derrick Green, and that's why he's part of the What's Going On panel. And if you want to hear more on his commentary, then tune in next Sunday because he's going to be part of the amazing panel, including people like David Person, who will join us on next Sunday as well. Koby, I'm going to give you one final opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to people listening this afternoon.
Kind of floating back off of what Mr. Green just said, I just think that just a friendly reminder, even to myself, that the future of this great nation is definitely within our hands. We all have a responsibility to be informed and aware of what's going on at all points in time. And it's our duty to issue in that change that we want to see. So if that looks like reading articles, going online, doing your research, asking about it, and then getting involved, whatever way you can. You don't have to do it all the time, but even the smallest steps towards the future that we want to see is progress.
Boy, I tell you, folks, I could talk to these guys all day long because they've got good stuff to say. Reverend Derrick Green joining me this afternoon, Koby, Matlock. You guys come back next year, same time, or whatever that date is, and let's do this again.
Absolutely,
I'll be there.
Kenny. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll look forward to seeing you then. And we have one final interview for you this afternoon on this very special edition of the Oakwood University 2024 Homecoming event. I'm Kenny Anderson. We'll bring that to you in about maybe 30 seconds or so. Yeah, sounds good to me. All right. We'll see you in just a few moments.
Why do we say praise 90.1 FM? Because the blessing is in the praise.
I shall live and not die. I shall amazing grace, how sweet the sound to save a wretch like me. Said I was too lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. I know.
Filling your day with songs of praise. Praise 90.1 FM.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast. Kenny Anderson once again on the scene here at 2024 Oakwood University Homecoming. I'm telling you folks, there are still people everywhere. This is that time of day where people know they got to catch those flights. They got to turn those rental cars back in. But it's hard to pull away from all of this love and fellowship and energy that's a part of the homecoming weekend that is really always at the core of what people experience here. There's so many people milling about, connecting, reconnecting, making new friendships, experiencing new things in a great way. I've got one final guest for me this afternoon. I didn't want this experience to end until I interviewed this guy, because one of the reasons that I get credit for being such a snazzy dresser these days is because of this brother right here, who was my clothier for so many years, and made sure that a brother had the right tie and maybe some other gear from time to time. Kevin Davis, affectionately known as KD, holding it down in the A. What's up, Kevin?
Humbled to be sitting here beside you, brother. It's good to be on Oakwood's grounds. This is special soil right here.
Yeah.
Special soil.
Yeah.
Love Oakwood. Reflecting back on my young years as a child growing up in New York, my dad used to drive us from New York. I believe we were here for the first alumni weekend, which I think was 72 or 73. And in my entire life, I have missed alumni weekend 2 times.
Wow.
Once because I was broke, and the other time because my dad actually passed in 07 on Easter Sunday.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So those are only 2 times I have not been here for alumni weekend, but always happy to be here around the Oakwood family and friends and people that I love and care about. And a place that has just shaped who I am.
Yeah, listen, we all come back for different reasons. Year after year for some people. Some people will do every decade, Some people, in fact, some people have never come back.
Right.
Which, for whatever reason, it's not necessarily their lack of love for Oakwood, but, over time, things change for some people and they don't necessarily come back. What is it that draws you back year after year? Because that's quite a statement to say you've only missed 2 times in the last 40 years, 40 plus years.
Like I said, my dad was an Oakwoodite. He was here 66, 67, and then he came back in 70 and 71. Was involved in USM. And just the heritage of the great theologues that came through here, the rich tradition of music, just seeing people of the same faith and color to carry themselves with pride, something that I've always wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
And now having matriculated through Oakwood and have gained so many friends having been here, and just even the eras where my brothers were here and their friends becoming my friends, and now being wed to someone that I was in the same class with being here, it's just that our relationships just continue to build. And we don't always get an opportunity to see everyone in their home state, but you come to Huntsville for alumni weekend, you're going to see people that you love. And that's a part of life that I cherish.
Yeah, it really is a special time. It's something I look forward to. I'm a resident of Huntsville. I've been living here after having left left Oakwood in 79. And I made that choice at that time as a New Yorker to come here and start my career and start my life. Best decision I ever made, I think. And I've actually watched Huntsville grow from being a baby city to what it has become today.
Right.
And I've also had a chance to, like you, experience just about every single alumni weekend that's happened. I think I've actually missed 1 or 2 myself. I remember one year there was a youth congress going on, and I went to that. I forgot where it was. And then something else might have come up one year and I didn't make it.
Right.
So I'm a lot like you. I don't miss alumni weekends. I think what's happened to me is I experience them differently. I used to just be in the mix, and I would immerse myself in the experience. But now it's kind of me, a kind of a selective, strategic process of going places where I can immerse myself in substantive, meaningful experiences with people. Like yesterday, I went to Stephen Foster's 70th birthday party. And it was a wonderful group of people in there from back in the day and stuff like that. But that was meaningful. But then I withdrew,
Okay.
And then I came back today,
Okay.
So I'm kind of more strategic and a little more surgical in how I deal with the alumni weekend. It's not the immersion, but it's still a very meaningful thing for me.
Yeah, I too was invited to that event and failed to commit only because of the start time.
Right.
And I didn't want to be labeled as the individual that, don't you know what time this thing starts, Negro? So for that reason and that reason only, I wasn't there.
Right.
But again, hey, here we are now connecting for the first time for the weekend.
That's right.
But a lot of our friends are the same friends, and I understand that they were there.
Yeah.
But again, and you're here with Stephen.
Yeah.
But it means so much more when your Oakwood family and the Oakwood community is also involved in events such as this.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, I can't let you go until we talk fashion. I'm being real serious about this. Kevin really did make sure that I got the hookup back in the day, that I was able to examine, a variety of accessories and other kinds of things that would help me become a much more conscientious dresser. And it was amazing, I think, because you're one of those go-to people that people think about when it comes to fashion sense. I would imagine, I'm not in these conversations, but I would imagine that people kind of reach out to you to get a little advice, to figure out how to put this with that and the other. Where do you get your fashion sense from?
So, honestly, Kenny, when I was in high school, I was 15 years old. I attended Adventist school during the elementary years, but I went to public school in high school, and I was part of work education. Being a part of work education, I would leave school a little early to go to my job, and I worked at Service Merchandise. And they placed me in watch and jewelry sales, so I had to come to work shirt and tie. Well, in public school, it was not cool to be dressed up. So I said, I've got to own this. I've got to do this so well that rather than getting teased, it's got to be like, who is this guy?
Right.
So I then started to immerse myself into clothing and studying the history of designers and clothing. When I got here to Oakwood in '85, after my first year of attending Oakwood, I had a lot of my peers send me money over the summer break to purchase their clothing for them. And I think at the time, too, when we met, I was also cutting hair, so I was barbering, and I went over to cut with Alonzo and Jeff.
That's right.
So I have been instrumental in the image of quite a few people, and a lot of people do know who I assist, and a lot of people, they come to me on assistance on the low.
Well, listen, it's got to be a lot of fun, because when it comes to fashion is one of those things that people can be expressive about, but I think it's also important, and most people will realize this, that with fashion, you're not trying to be somebody else.
Absolutely.
You're really trying to get your own identity.
Absolutely. And the drive for it with me is helping people to develop a look and give themselves greater confidence. When I see brothers that have purchased a whole ensemble for me, suit, shirt, tie, and I see them walk into a room with a certain level of confidence, and they're not necessarily people that are known as dressers, but they've embraced their ensemble, it really makes me feel special. And it's not about trying to make everyone a puppet or adorn them as I would adorn myself, but it's taking in mind who they are and helping them to feel comfortable within. So, and also trying to do it in a way that doesn't burn people's pockets, because I don't believe people need to spend an inexorbitant amount of money on clothing.
Yeah. That's a smart thing to think about, and also a smart practice
yes.
to embrace, because it can become a very costly thing
Absolutely.
if people, indulge in ways that could be perhaps painful and hurtful.
Absolutely.
Kevin Davis, it is always good to chop it up with you when I get a chance to do that. We're past the pandemic as we knew it, when people kind of
gotten a little more casual.
A little more casual, a little bit more relaxed.
A little bit more relaxed.
A little bit more comfortable in some instances.
Absolutely.
And we're grateful for all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I know I am.
As for me in my house, I'm still going to be in my suits.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Yes, sir.
Colors. Are there any male colors that are prominent right now that, a brother like myself wants to look at when I'm thinking about perhaps some new suits?
Well, you want to pay attention to the season. So we've now transitioned from the winter months to the spring months. So I'm going to look at earth tones that are a little lighter in shade. Seersucker, classic seersucker. Yesterday I was adorned in I guess maybe you want to call it a cobalt blue suit. It's kind of electric blue suit. Things that aren't as drab or as mundane that you would wear in the winter months when it's colder.
Yeah.
So I'll just I would say for the brothers, embrace color.
We tend, as a people, to come in various shades of brown. So keep that in mind also. But never say you can't wear a particular color. It may be that if you're embracing a suit that you necessarily wouldn't see yourself purchasing in that color, tone it down with the shirt. Don't necessarily stay in the same family with the shirt, because the shirt is more so closer to your skin. And then go against the grain with the tie and the pocket square. Do something totally different and just highlight a little bit of that suit in the pocket square and tie. Don't match it perfectly. You don't want to look like Geronimo's.
No, you don't. Okay. Kevin Davis, brother has fashion sense. There's no question about it. I always say as a public speaker that I study people who speak publicly. I want to understand how they do it and be as good as they are. When people have good fashion sense, you want to study them and be as good as they are. Again, not who they are, but as good as they are in terms of how they go about choosing what they choose and doing what they do. KD, thank you, brother, for being a part of this conversation.
Thanks for having me. Humbled. Thank you so much.
All right.
It was a great weekend. Good to be in the place.
Good to have you,
All
brother.
right, brother.
I'm going to come back in just a minute and tell you about what's happening on next Sunday. This is our 2024 Oakwood University Homecoming edition of the Second Chance radio broadcast. I'll do that in just a moment.
Just now, another kid dropped out of school. There's one every 20 seconds.
If we do nothing, 3.5 million kids won't receive a diploma over the next 4 years. But there is someone who can change that. You. United Way knows that kids who have a caring adult in their life are more likely to make it. So make a pledge. Tutor. Mentor. Volunteer to read with children. And the difference between a dropout and a graduate could be you. Take the pledge to volunteer now at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
We as Americans,
We as a nation, we owe it to them.
They served our country. It's the least we can do.
we can't forget about them.
They put their lives on the line for us.
Yes, of course I want to help.
I want to help.
Yeah, I want to help. I just don't know how.
Now there's a way to help our veterans, service members, and their families. CommunityBlueprintNetwork.org. Working together, we can help those who served and their families. CommunityBlueprintNetwork.org. Log on today.
Perhaps you have some ideas, comments, or suggestions that you would like to share. Or perhaps you'd like to be a guest on the broadcast. We'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to email Kenny Anderson at mxlife@aol.com, or you can like us on the Second Chance Facebook page. That's 2ND Chance. And now, back to more of Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
I want to thank you all for being a part of our conversation this afternoon. It's been a wonderful day today as we've had a chance to celebrate the 2024 Oakwood University Homecoming weekend right here on the campus of Oakwood University with our annual live remote. I want to thank Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin, Micha Logan, Eric Kelly, Dane Timpson, Michelle Cooper, Dr. Sydney Freeman, Ted and Dr. Beverly Robinson, Tim Allston, Derrick Green, Koby Matlock, Kevin Davis, Dan Smith, and maybe forgetting one more person. I apologize if I did that. But great conversations today. Look at old Ava over there. How you doing, Ava? Ava Willis Barksdale will be on our broadcast sometime in the very near future, and she's actually going to share some great information about how we can, do some more strategic thinking around fundraising and other kinds of things. I think you'll have a lot to learn in that process. Isn't that right? Yeah, she's shaking her head yes. Well, come on over now. If you want to come on over now. I mean, I don't have anything to do this afternoon. And the boss just said, come on over. So when the boss says come on over, you come on over, right? Ava Willis-Barksdale, we're going to preview the program that she's going to be on later this month. I think you're going to be on the second Sunday in April, I think. Yeah.
I think it might be third.
Or maybe the third,
Yeah.
But she's coming, trust me. We have it on the schedule because we plan these things.
Exactly.
Ava, good to see you.
Good to be here.
Welcome back to Oakwood.
Thank you.
Was this part of your vision plan? And, a lot of times people kind of sit down and they strategize about where they are and how they're going to get there. Was this part of that conversation?
Well, every 2 or 3 years I evaluate where I am.
Yeah.
Which could explain some of the different moves I've made.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last 5-6 years, my children have been impacting my thoughts about being closer to where they live.
Yeah.
And so we thought about Nashville, which is where Andrea lives. And I really hadn't thought entirely about Huntsville. This opportunity opened, and I had several months of conversations. And so ultimately, because whatever move we were making was going to be the last one for me and my husband. He retired. And so, so
we are people of that age, right?
We are.
So, it's just,
Yeah. So, I mean, at some point it will happen for me too.
Right.
But, so it kind of came up somewhat unexpectedly, but worked into what we were talking about for, the end of life plans or end of working life plans. So, yeah, it's great to be back. There's a lot to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm here. And one of the joys is that I've done this lots of places, right?
Yeah.
But I start here with a different kind of knowledge, a different kind of connection to our donor and potential donor base. Not as much in the general Huntsville community, and that's what I want to grow.
Yeah.
Not just for me, but the institution needs that.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to it, and I've been well received in those spaces where I've gone that are community based. So it's what I do is clearly not dig ditching or anything like that. It can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Even with the challenges, I'm having fun.
So I'm going to lean on you for the math about this because I'm not even going to try to do this in my head. But Oakwood is how old now?
128.
128 years. So we're coming up on 130. That's, I guess, a point of significance. Something major should happen at that time, I think, anytime you hit a zero. 128 years, and this institution has made a huge impact on our community. But in many ways, there's still opportunities to grow, just like our community has grown and expanded. It's a much different footprint than it was when you were here.
Right.
And of course, when I started my career here. And so as you think about navigating that journey, I'm hearing you say things like there's opportunity that has to be explored and that you hope to leverage some of those opportunities so that they will be effective in terms of impacting the institution as the institution has impacted this community for 128 years.
I think, unfortunately, we've grown alongside of the community.
Yeah.
Not inside of the community.
Yeah.
And we need to not take advantage per se, but be on that same ride. An example is the Huntsville Convention and Visitors Bureau want to make sure that they feature us in their next set of promotional materials, and they've never had that. Never had the pictures, never had the video to do it.
Wow.
And I said, well, give me a call. Do I have a deadline? We can do, So, there are some things that are technically low-hanging fruit, and we just have to do it. And, I suppose I came along at this moment and plan to try to get us rightened where that's concerned. Raising money is a thing. But building relationships is the only way you can do that.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Yeah. Well, we're going to give you the middle name Esther because you are here for such a time as this. And we're excited about you being here, and we're excited about having future conversations about how this institution can partner with the community and how we can really, we love Oakwood. Those of us who've been through this we love Oakwood. There are people that did not go to Oakwood who love Oakwood.
Right.
There are people who watch Oakwood from outside of the institution. They love Oakwood. I mean, I talk to people all the time like, oh, those Oakwood students, that Oakwood experience. I mean, they're always saying great things about Oakwood, and then they hear the Aeolians.
Right.
It's like that, and they're never the same again, you know. And so there are opportunities, we all know, to leverage even more. And so, you know, to whom much is given, much is required. And Oakwood has been given much. And the expectation is that we will leverage every opportunity that we can in this beautiful institution that we love so much called Oakwood University. She's Ava Willis-Barksdale. She is the Vice President of Advancement. Is it Advancement and Development, or is it just Advancement?
It's University Advancement.
University Advancement. I got to use the, you know, the terms change, and then my brain gets fried.
They did a sort of collection of words, but Advancement and Development really mean the same thing. So it's just University Advancement.
I love it.
So
University Advancement. I will.
And as long as I can work with the unofficial mayor of Huntsville.
Where's he? Is he here today?
That would be you. That would be you.
Oh. Better hide behind the mic. I don't know who that guy is. No, you know you got my support in any way that I know. We're going to talk more about some things in some ways. And Sister Donna Baker, of course, and I are going to sit down and we're going to talk. I know, Donna. I said we're going to talk, and you said we're going to talk, and so that means we're going to talk, and we're going to figure out how to make those things happen. And I have the energy for that. I have the interest in that. I have the passion for that because I really do love Oakwood.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that we invest in what we love.
Absolutely.
And that's what it comes down to. So. Looking forward to our conversation in the month of April, which is right around the corner. I think it starts tomorrow.
Yes, that's right. And that is not an April Fool.
It's not. It's not. It's not. But you know, we'll be doing What's Going On next Sunday, and Marvin Gaye died on April Fool's Day. I was in Atlanta that day, and I was at a friend's house, and I'd taken a nap, and I woke up, and my friend told me, you know, Marvin Gaye was killed, and I said, that's an awful April Fool's joke. And unfortunately, it wasn't. And of course, you know, we lead out in the What's Going On segment with Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, and just a very spiritual album. And you know, I can go on and on about it, but I won't today. But next Sunday, we will have our What's Going On segment with commentators on next Sunday. Some array of the wonderful commentators and the voices that I have. We'll talk about all of those things that you're probably talking about around your tables and on your devices, and perhaps even in some other spaces as well. We'll have those conversations on next Sunday on the broadcast. In the meantime, I hope that you have a great rest of the week. Remember, as always, knowledge is better than riches. I hope that you'll have a great afternoon. And for those that are traveling out of the city, who've been here for homecoming weekend, we pray that you'll have safe travels, and we hope to see you again soon. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you again on next Sunday.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you, and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you, so please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.